What is going on, guys? obZenz here, and today I am bringing you my tips and tricks for the Generation 8 Regen challenges. Now, the first challenge that we have is the All I Do Is Win challenge. Now, this requires us to win 100 matches in Titanfall, and that's in any game mode. So, there's a couple of things I can say here that should hopefully get you on the winning team. The first one is you want to be comfortable. You want to be using weapons that you use well. If you like using the smart pistol, then use the smart pistol. You're going to be no use to your team if you're trying to use a weapon that you don't feel comfortable with. You'll just play bad, you'll get upset with yourself, you'll lose patience, and you'll just get angry at the game. So be comfortable with what you're using. That's my first tip. The second tip I have for you guys is you want to get that Titan of yours out as quick as you can. Now, whether that be using burn cards like a reserve ogre or something like that, or a spare strider to drop a Titan as quick as you can, or using other burn cards that reduce the build time on your Titan. You want to be using those. It is such a big advantage to have your Titan out first, because you can rip through the ground troops and absolutely demolish any pilots that you come across. So if you do those two things, hopefully you'll find yourself on the winning team. Now, the next challenge that we have is the Look Out Below challenge, and this requires us to drop our Titan on 50 enemies. Now, the good thing about this is we don't have to go looking for those pilots. We can just look for the grunts and the spectres, and they will all count. Now, what you want to do is you want to put Warp Fall Transmitter on. Now, this is a tier 2 pilot mod, and it means our Titan is now going to warp into battle, which means we're going to have a better chance of dropping our Titan on an enemy. Now, there's a couple of methods we can use here. We can go out and hunt out the grunts. So basically, to do that, we're going to find a grunt or a pack of grunts or spectres, look at them, and then just drop our Titan. Hopefully they'll walk into it instead of walking away from it, but I have had it happen a couple of times where they've just walked off and I've ended up with nothing. Now, another method that is a little bit more reliable is finding an auto Titan, jumping on their back, and then when they look at the ground, we're going to look at the ground, drop our Titan, jump off, and then hopefully we'll land it straight on top of them. This method is a little bit more reliable than the others, but it takes a little bit longer to do. Now, the next challenge that we have is the Executioner challenge, and this requires us to perform 25 Atlas Titan executions. Now, obviously we want to be using the Atlas Titan for this challenge. It doesn't really matter about our primary weapon, our Vortex Shield, or any of that stuff. The name of the game here is to deal as much damage to the opposing Titan as you can. You want to stay relatively close to them. When they're getting really low on health, we really want to stick to them. As soon as they go into their doom state, we're going to punch them and rip them out of their Titan. Now, next up we have the If It Moves challenge with the C.A.R. SMG. Now, to complete this challenge, we need to kill 200 enemies with it. Now, this gun is really good. It has a really high fire rate, really good damage, and it is pretty good at distance as well. Now, to complete the If It Moves challenge, as I've said with most of the other guns in my other regen tips and tricks videos, find those high traffic areas, guys. That's how you're going to get those 200 kills. If you are having trouble finding enemies, you could put minion detector on, which means the bots will show up on your map, and it will hopefully lead you to the right areas where you can get those kills. Now, with the C.A.R, you also want to complete the Top Gun challenge, which is to kill 75 pilots. Now, what you want to do here is, again, find those high traffic areas, but the one tip I do have for you, which I haven't given in other videos, is put a silencer on. I was kind of against them when I first started playing, but the good thing about it is you will not show up on your minimap when you're firing. So if you're after those pilots, you're going to want to probably use a suppressor, because most good pilots will be looking at their minimap for where other players are. So if you can stay hidden on that, you'll have the upper hand, and you should be able to get these 75 pilot kills in absolutely no time at all, because this gun is an absolute beast, guys. Now, next up we have the Titan Killer challenge with the Archer Heavy Rocket Launcher. Now, to do this, we need to kill 10 enemy Titans with this weapon. Now, what you want to do is you want to stay above them. You want to be on roofs looking down at these Titans. You don't want to be on ground level while trying to attack a Titan with this, because it is a slow weapon. You will get found out and you will probably get slaughtered. The second thing I can tell you is if you can damage a Titan prior to using this weapon against them, it will be really helpful. As you can see, I use satchel charges there to damage him and then finish him off with that Archer. That's how you're going to get those 10 kills, guys. Now, the last challenge of Generation 8 is called Critically Conditioned, and it has us scoring 75 critical hits on Titans with our 40mm cannon. So we're going to need to equip our 40mm cannon for this challenge, guys. But what you want to do is drop a Titan's shields, and then these big red spots are going to come up, and they're the critical points. And to complete this challenge, we need to score 75 critical hits. So we need to hit those red spots 75 times with our 40mm cannon. Now, something that will make this challenge challenge a bit easier is if you can get behind a Titan, because the critical point behind or on the back of a Titan is a lot bigger than on the front, so therefore you have a better chance of landing those 75 critical hits on Titans, guys. So there you go, they were my tips and tricks for Generation 8. I hope they helped you guys out. Be sure to keep an eye out for many more videos coming up in the very near future. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all of that good stuff, and I will see you all in my next video. Thank you very much for watching, guys.